Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us this week. As promised, we do have another guest that is joining us this week in celebration of Youth Month. She is a female entrepreneur, very impactful in her space. I can't wait to tell you all about her. If you haven't subscribed as yet, please can you subscribe by clicking on the subscribe button right below, and don't forget to like the videos, drop your comments, and stay tuned. So this week's interview will be a Zoom interview. We have to get on with the times and, adapt to all the changes that are being brought to us at the current moment. My guest is unfortunately in Mpumalanga and I am in Gauteng, so we obviously can't meet physically, but she brings you the story as it is, and I don't doubt that the story will just be as motivational as it was meant to be. Nomuntu Ndhlovu is an ambitious young entrepreneur who currently resides in Steenbok, which is a small village within the Nkomazi Municipality in Mpumalanga province. She has accomplished many things in a field which includes her degree in microbiology from Wits University, her postgraduate diploma in management from Wits Business School, as well as a qualification in business and entrepreneurship from UNISA. She is currently the managing director of two companies that were founded by herself, which are SiyaBuddy Recycling and Untum Financial Solutions. Throughout her entrepreneurship journey, she has received numerous awards, and I'm just going to list them. She's received first place in South Africa for her innovative financial solution, as awarded by SACOTECH, which is now in 2020. She was elected as part of the 200 young influential South Africans in 2019 as elected by Mail and Guardian. She was awarded the Young Social Entrepreneur of 2019 by the World Exports Development Forum. She was awarded Young Entrepreneur of 2018 by the French South Africa Chamber of Commerce and Industry. She was also the 2019 ambassador for CEDA. So we are so honored to have Nomuntu on the channel today. She's just going to take us through her journey as an entrepreneur and the difficulties that she faced in building these two very powerful enterprises that she currently owns. Hey Muntu, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the YouTube channel. We can't wait to hear all about you, your entrepreneurial journey. It is with no doubt that you are very impactful in your field. So thank you so much for joining us. And I guess I should start by asking you to just tell us more about yourself, your background, where you're from, where do you currently live, and what do you do for a living?
Okay. Hi guys, my name is Nomuntu, as Nosipo has already said. I am from Mpumalanga, Nkomazi, Steenbok. I'm from the rural.
Yeah.
I was born here, bred here. I still live here. So, yeah. I went to school in Masbegela. It was a private school actually. Eureka. Yes, I went to Eureka.
Okay.
And then yes. And then after that, I went to a Sakerland, and yeah, that was basically my primary school and high school life. Nothing major happened then. Yeah, and then I went to Wits. I did a BSc in microbiology because I did not know what I wanted to do with my life. I actually finished my high school at 16.
Mm-hmm.
So,
wow. So did you skip a grade? Why did you finish your high school at 16?
Yeah, I got promoted. I skipped one grade.
You're a smart kid, huh?
Yeah, I was always a smart kid. I still think I am.
You are. Trust me, you are.
And then so when I went to varsity, I was still 16. So my dad didn't want me to go actually, but I was like, no, I'm not gonna chill here. Like, what am I going to do with my time?
Yeah.
So I went to school, and yeah, I just took wherever they took me, that's where I went. Like, it wasn't like a planned thing.
Okay.
But my parents obviously wanted me to do medicine, so that's why I ended up in a BSc field. I was just passing, just over 50.
Yeah.
So it didn't actually pay out for me, but it's because I didn't like what I was doing, and it was just one of those would say, let's just finish.
Wits gives you the edge. 50% is like, 50% there is like
finished. Yeah, and then I failed 1 year. I remember I failed 1 year, and I was so depressed. I'd never failed in my life.
It was the first time.
I was so depressed about that. Yeah, because if you always smart, you always think you can get away with things. Yeah, you must study, guys. Hey, like you, you have to make sure,
I'm more interested to find out about the start of the entrepreneurship journey. Like, how did you know? When did you find out in your life? Because you said yourself, Uti, when you finished varsity, it was sort of like a bit of a confusion. So how did you know, or when in your life did you realize that, you know what, actually, I want to get into entrepreneurship, and I think this is where my destiny lies? Because I think most young people struggle a lot from that. You never really know when to actually take the leap of faith and be like, you know what, I'm quitting what I studied for and I'm going to venture into entrepreneurship.
I think it was organic. It was an organic growth. Because when I finished school, I also did a postgrad in business management. And then when I finished that, I went into consulting. I was a management consultant for 4 years. But in my first year in, I was like, guys, this can't be my life. This is my life, forever. So I was like, there has to be another way for me to make money, guys. What else can I do? But I can't really, from way back when I was a kid, my parents were always in business, as a side thing.
That's actually a huge factor. Many studies in the field of entrepreneurship have proven that most entrepreneurs are raised in families that are very entrepreneurial. So the fact that you grow up seeing your parents running their own businesses, being their own bosses, that has something in what you become further in life. So it seems like you're living evidence of that.
I think so. Because like I said, they've always, there was always a business. Mm-hmm. If this one fails, we start the next one. If this one fails, we start the next one. So I've always known that. But I was like, no, I need an easy, simple way to, let's make money easy. So I went into property. I was like, this should be my thing, mm-hmm. This is where I should be. Mm-hmm. And I remember I was buying. Sorry?
Was property your first start into?
That was my first start. Yeah, that was my first start. Mm-hmm. When I started with one apartment. I remember I eventually had 3 apartments that I was renting out. Mm-hmm. And I was like, no, man, renting out one apartment at a time is just too slow for me. Yeah. Let me see if I can get a block, right?
Yeah.
Went to Benoni, got a block, got approved for the funding for the block. Everything was okay, but I could...
As in a whole block
as in a whole block. I think it had if I remember correctly, 32 units in it. Plus... what's this shopping sort of thing at the bottom? It was 3 floors, and I raised it was, if I remember correctly, 4.5 million for that. I got the money, but I needed to put in a 20% deposit. Yeah. So I went out, hit up my friends, everyone I knew who would be interested, and I managed to raise the money. I was left with 75,000, and then the buyer pulled out. So. Oh man, the buyer pulled out, and the agent who was handling the thing, I didn't do my homework well. The agent was not registered, so he ran away with my deposit, and I was in shit. I was in, excuse my language, I was in so much trouble because now I had to pay back people their money, and I only had 200,000 instead of 450. Yeah, I had to raise 10%. 450. So that's when I was like, you know what, life is just a bit hard. I sold my apartments and I paid people back. And
the other 3 that you had on the side.
Yeah, I had to sell them. I had to make money. So I sold them and I tried to pay people back. And in my 4th year as a management consultant, I was like, you know what, I need to get out. I was very, very miserable. I was very depressed. I could not perform at work. It was that bad. So I was like, you know what, I need to get out. One of my friends decided to introduce me to Alan Gray. They had a business a business, like I think an incubation, if I can put it that way.
Yeah.
So she was like, help me with my business, and then we can do this incubation thing together, and you can get some new skills and maybe see if you can't come out on the other side. And we did that. And one of the conditions of the entrepreneurship thing, because we entered it as partners, but we had not registered a business or anything. We didn't have shares or anything like that. When we were at the end, they selected us as one of the groups to actually get funded by Alan Gray to actually seed funding to actually.
What were you guys presenting if you didn't have a business?
We were presenting a software, like a consulting software, like a small business consulting software, where small businesses can meet coaches and mentors online, and you can actually have your mentorship online instead of actually meeting the person for coffee and stuff like that. We called it Brainbox, and yeah, like it was pretty cool. I'm not gonna go into details of it now, but it was basically to help other small businesses start their businesses. So when we got selected, we're supposed to move to Cape Town. That's when I actually took the leap of faith and I quit my job. So the condition is that you have to be in it full time. We both had to quit our jobs and move to Cape Town and do the whole thing. Quit my job on a Friday, waited for my friend to call me, nothing. On Sunday, she comes to my place and she said, dude, I didn't quit my job.
What?
I'm not going. I'm like, what? No, like we agreed, like, let's go. It's like, no, I'm not going. I'm actually moving. I'm going to the UK. I got a new job and I'm sorry. And I was like, but why didn't you tell me before? Because surely you didn't know this on Saturday, right? I'm sure you had time to think about it, and that's why you haven't been talking to me. Why didn't you tell me in time? And the conversation that basically happened just took our friendship, like basically ended our friendship, because she just said, you should always have a plan B. I'm not your...
Fair enough. Like, I would sure end that friendship today. I mean, I just...
Like...
a decision that has changed my whole life based on what we agreed on, and the next thing you're not showing up. Like, I would definitely...
Yeah, and then she was like, no, just go back to work and ask for a job back. Surely they could give it to you. And I was like, wow, okay. But I decided, you know what, I'm not going to go back. I'm not going to gravel. Because they already know that I'm leaving. It's just going to make my life very difficult. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go home. Packed my stuff, I went home. But luckily, I had another business that I was working on at home, which is SiyaBuddy, in recycling.
So when you left,
another business partner.
You had already started SiyaBuddy?
Yes, I had already started SiyaBuddy. So that was 2016. I already started SiyaBuddy. At the beginning of the year, I had partnered with Siyabonga to do SiyaBuddy. But it was not, like, there was nothing yet. We're still using my parents' cars to fetch stuff and sell stuff. It was still starting out. It was still very small. I think it was just me and him and 4 of his friends. And like, they were volunteering just because everyone is bored at home, you know, like no one is doing anything. Guys, let's just kill time. Let's go do this. And that's basically how SiyaBuddy was born. Then
so before you
came
on, there's a few things that I'm picking up from your journey, right? First thing being the fact that you've had a few hiccups in business. I mean, your first tries were almost nothing. Your first tries didn't work out for you, but still had a bit of persistence. And after being disappointed for the first time with the property, you went on for the second time around, to move to Cape Town and do this Alan Gray incubator thing. Even when that didn't work out, you went and you started pursuing SiyaBuddy. So what I'm picking up from all of this is you knew that there's no ways I'm going into corporate, there's no ways I'm doing anything else. My purpose, I'll call it, lies into this thing, which is entrepreneurship. That's the spirit that I like about, that's why I believe entrepreneurs are born and they're not creative. You can't teach someone to be an entrepreneur, but you create, you brew entrepreneurs. So
Yeah.
the second thing is that you are someone that believes in partnerships in business.
Yes.
Believe in forming partnerships. You don't believe in doing things by yourself, even with the potential that you have, even with the qualifications that you have and everything. You still don't believe that it's worth doing it on your own. So I'll let you continue with your story, but I'd like you to elaborate more on those values. That those are very important things that I've picked up personally, and I think are very key in forming a successful entrepreneur. So I want you to elaborate later on that and what it has brought for you in your network.
Okay. Yeah. So let me just quickly fast forward stuff. 2016 December, we got funding from the ITC for SiyaBuddy. We worked really hard to get that funding.
SiyaBuddy. Explain to my viewers who see what the SiyaBuddy is.
Okay. SiyaBuddy is a recycling company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Spell it.
It's a recycling company. We basically we collect waste. Mm-hmm. We buy it from people around Nkomazi, and we bale it and we sell it. That's where we are now. There are a lot of innovative things that we're doing, currently trying to get certification for. Mm-hmm. We want to do a plastic break from plastics. We want to do fertilizer and animal feed from food waste. But those are things that are still in the pipeline. They haven't materialized as yet. Mm-hmm. But yeah, basically we are in the recycling space. We're trying to make sure that all the waste that we collect actually goes through a recycling cycle, and it's basically it's in a cycle, nature, how nature intended things to be like.
There's also that important part that you're leaving out about SiyaBuddy. Would see how does the community benefit from this, those incentives that it has to the community.
Okay, so we buy waste according to my kg. So we're basically creating jobs in that way, because people who previously did not have any source of income can now just collect waste in the community. We have about 1,000 vendors, I would call them vendors, that actually we buy from on a monthly basis. And they can make, maybe depending on how hard they work, 500 to 1.5 a month, depending on the person. Mm-hmm. So that's the first part. I guess that's the major part. But we also do awareness campaigns on waste. We go out to schools, we do school programs, basically teaching everyone to say, let's save our environment.
And, dispose of things the way that it's supposed to be.
The way that they're supposed to be.
I love it. And, the thing is, it's going to be hard for me because I'm trying to, appeal to an audience, but I'm also trying to talk to you personally. But the thing I like about SiyaBuddy the most, and I wanted you to highlight it, would see over and above you being a capitalist and making money out of your business. You have not forgotten about that average kid Losala in the village that has nothing, no source of income whatsoever. You are giving them an equal opportunity. Okay, bring something on the table. Yes, it's going to help me in the form of profit, but I wanted to help you too. I love that initiative. I really, really love that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. So SiyaBuddy was born 2016 December. We got funding. We started out with 6 people. Last year we were sitting at 27, but Corona and everything had to cut, so we're now at 15. Mm-hmm. So we're down to 15 now, and we had to retrench quite a number of people. And it hasn't been an easy road. But it hasn't been an easy road. As much as I like partnerships, you really need to work really well with your partner. Yeah. Partnerships, I always tell people that a partnership is like a relationship. It really is. You work on it every day. You're gonna clash, you're gonna fight. It's gonna be bad, but it's also gonna be great at the same time. So you really need to be willing to, both of you. You need to be willing to do the work. So that's where we are now. When we started, we were hardly making 30 grand a month, and now we're averaging 250, 350 a month. So it's grown quite well.
You are building an empire. I'm not even ashamed to say that you're building an empire. I think that will quadruple in the next 5 years, I believe, because the awareness about environmental issues, especially amongst emakaya la I think awareness they should be understand more. it helps to be more cautious about some issues that involve the environment.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think I'm gonna go back to your questions now. SiyaBuddy is not the only business I have. I also have Untum Financial Solutions, which basically.
Let's talk more about that. Let's talk more about it. And
I was trying to get to the purpose part, but it's about women. And I always said, even when I was working in a very male, because recycling is a male-dominated, very white male-dominated. Yeah. I always said to Siyabong, you need to bring up the women here. Where are the girls? There are no girls here. And women is my purpose. Empowering women is my purpose. And the reason I say that is because everywhere I go and whatever I do, I always try to empower the Black female. That's what brought Untum Financial Solutions, because word of note, I haven't shared this with anyone, but after I quit my job, I had to cut out a third of my living expenses. And that means I was living off 1/3 of the income I used to get. And that was hard. I had to move back home. I had to stop shopping, going out for lunch, things that I used to enjoy doing before. I couldn't do that anymore. And it was very, very hard. And financially, I had to really, really get myself to a place where I'm not living an inflated life. I'm living a very basic, no unnecessary things, no Netflix, all those things I had to cut really hard. And that was very hard for me. It was very, very hard for me. Mm-hmm. And at first I really, really struggled to a point where I went into a debt review process, because all the things that I had accumulated before, I couldn't afford to pay for them anymore. And SiyaBuddy was not making enough money to sort of, give me the lifestyle that I used to have. I had credit card debt, store debt, home loans, personal loans, whatever you can think of, I had it. I had all of that. And I now had to learn to manage my money. I had to learn to live on a budget, start afresh. When they teach you, no, you must budget, you must do this. You're you must save. You take it lightly, because you're always thinking, I'm always going to get my income. I'm still working. I'm still young. What are you talking about? You have no life policy. You have nothing. And where I used to work, they didn't give us a pension or anything like that. So you had to sort yourself out, your medical aid, everything. So it was really, really hard. And it took me through a financial journey where I had to now learn to live on a basic, bare minimum amount of money. Mm-hmm. Where I used to, I'm not going to go into details of money, but it was very hard.
I think I understand exactly what you mean. And I don't know if it's us Black people or other races do it as well, but I don't think we have financial literacy per se. We don't understand.
Yes.
Okay, nice salary, I'm getting it for the first time, 15,000 for the first time. What is it that I do with it? We have to figure it out ourselves, and it's so unfortunate for us. Actually, this goes to saving, this goes to whatever policies that you have, and I think it's important. Which
very important. Which is what births Untum Financial Solutions, because I know that people don't have financial literacy. I didn't, and I was considered a very educated person, but I didn't understand what it was. I didn't understand what.
I have to say this, I'm in the financial field. I'm a qualified chartered accountant. I have been at this thing since 2011, studying towards this thing. It's 2020 now, and I literally learned this thing of financial literacy last year in 2019. I didn't do it. I did not know. I learned it late 2019.
And because you don't know, you just don't know what to do. You're just okay, let's go to wherever. Let's go. I'm a lover of travel. But the last 2 years, actually, I had to learn to travel without spending my own money. I was going through a financial literacy journey, and I used that. It was I wanted to learn about it. So I applied for programs that are programs that expose you to the world, but at the same time are teaching you about what you want to learn, and there's so many of those sort of things where you basically, let me give you an example. When I went to Ghana, I went to Rwanda, I went to a lot of places, and it was all through a journey of, I want to learn something. Like, there was a purpose on it, and I intentionally put myself on specific programs to expose myself to those countries, because I want to travel Africa first before I travel the rest of the world. I had to put myself in those spaces where I said, guys, this is who I am, this is what I know, this is what I want to do. And what I wanted to do was basically bring life to Untum Financial Solutions, which is a financial literacy company. Last year, I managed to train 40 women in Nkomazi who have small businesses on financial literacy and how to manage their money in their personal lives, in their business, and basically teach them the things that I've learned, and share and be vulnerable about myself and what I went through, and the depression I was in, and the position I was in. We're out there in the world, like superhero, superstar, but you are struggling. My first product is SACOTECH, where I've created an app for for stokvels and savings and credit groups to basically record their payments online. And the plan with that is that I want to make it easier to transact. So this is my idea. You can move your money from your SASA card to the stokvel account through the app. But yeah, I'm still trying to work out the logistics of that. But basically, like,
you are a
normal daily transaction.
Yeah, you are a true definition of an entrepreneur. You are not a businesswoman, you are an entrepreneur. And I'll tell you why I say this. An entrepreneur.
Why do you say this?
An entrepreneur. What makes a business person different from an entrepreneur is the ability to adapt to change. I'm hearing you, okay, fine, you've identified a problem and you have a solution. But the fact that you are bringing a solution that adapts to the times that we live in now is something that is out of this world and completely different. I think that's what will make you a differentiator, even in the space that you're operating within, because you're not just trying to solve a problem, but you're solving a problem by also being innovative. So, like, that's the highlight for me. That's the highlight of this interview. I like that.
Thanks, Lucy. Thanks. But like, I don't want to, like, I consider myself a global citizen. So, like, my vision, like, South Africa has a pretty established banking system. Guys, hey, people are struggling. Like, they're struggling to get a bank, like, just to get a bank, like. So I'm hoping that if I can do this well, I can scale it outside the country, create jobs, because the idea is that if you can get to a point where you can make it into a bank, you can have like little containers that are community banks, and you hire someone from the community to be the bank agent, and they basically help the people in the community to bank through the app, physical money, and yeah, we'll see where it goes, but that's the idea.
Yeah,
it's just like it's there in the clouds now, I can see it properly, but I'm still here too.
I'm so sold. Like, I'm really sold. Like, this idea for me, I really see your style of entrepreneurship is a bit different, because in everything that you do, it's not really about you. It's about solving a community problem. And
yes,
the community problem, then you are thinking about, you've lived in the community and you know how it feels like to be in the village and not have certain resources. So you're trying to solve this problem. I really, really love that. And that's something I'm also very passionate about, to, find ways to give back to the community, but also not put yourself at a disadvantage. So big ups on that. I think my questions are to Siswa Kabile more, because you've spoken about the difficulty in your journey. But the most important one, which is actually the reason why I called you to be part of this interview, is ask you, in celebration of Youth Month, what would you say to a young person What are the values and principles that you can share to a typical young person, maybe in the village, maybe in the burbs, maybe a professional? Like, what would you say to them that would, inspire them? Things that you wish you knew at an earlier age.
You need to get to know your purpose and your strengths as early as you possibly can.
Yeah.
It's so unfortunate. I think for me, it's so unfortunate for me personally that I've only discovered my purpose now. I think like I'm late. According to me, I'm very late. But it would have been nice for me to find my strengths, because I know that I'm an entrepreneur. I know I'm innovative. I can sell for days. There's certain traits about me that,
someone else
by nature I have them, but I didn't know I had them. And it's just unfortunate that our education system does not allow you to discover yourself at a very young age. Like eskoleni ungafunza and you're a smart person, but see, engineering, medicine, there's set things that they tell you, this is what you're going to become when you grow up.
The school system, but also the perception of society is crazy. The perception of society, if ungafunzi business, no one will take you seriously. It's also like it's built in our society for you to be considered as someone important, in inverted commas, you need to have studied something like this and that and that. And I think that's wrong.
But we're completely wrong. If you can just stay in your purpose and just ask God, pray about it, ask God to say, God, please just help me discover myself now. Before I spend so much time listening to what other people are saying about me and who I am and what I am. Can you just help me discover myself now, so that when how can I put it? When you walk in your purpose and you walk in your strengths, things are easy. You do things and things are just easy.
Yes.
Because I've seen kids who can they can plant anything and it grows into a huge garden out of one seed that this child has planted. Unfortunately, our parents, maybe it's in I don't know, you can't recognize a child's talents and a child's strengths at a young age. But for me, if I know my child is a sports star, he's just there, that's what I need to push, instead of saying, no, pasa metriki, funza, I should also be pushing to say, also push this talent. Don't sleep on this. Because that's where your greatness is, and that's where that's what I would say. That's my advice. Live in your purpose, you won't go wrong.
So actually, I like how you mentioned this, because last week, the guest that I had also mentioned the same thing. And to be honest with you, that's actually why I started this YouTube channel. I just wanted to bring some sort of awareness. My riches are your millions, or even not money. Your happiness is lying in your purpose. Your happiness is lying in your gifts and talents. And we have all the evidence. Even the Bible itself will tell you. The Bible from the beginning tells you, you know what? I created you guys, and in my creation, I had in mind what I want you to be. So by you not realizing and recognizing those things that make you different from the next person, you're actually putting your own self at a disadvantage. That's actually I'm getting at. I want us to make this one short. 5 things you would advise an upcoming entrepreneur, or an entrepreneur already, or someone that just aspires to be an entrepreneur in the future. What are the 5 values that you'd share with them? Quick values, no elaboration, but values that you think an entrepreneur should portray at any point in their journey.
Focus on your strengths. I don't want to say replace. Find people who can enhance your weaknesses. Always pivot. Make sure you're designing for the customer. Pray about everything that you do.
Okay. Well said. I like that. And then I think in closing, let me ask you, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? What's the vision?
Oh man, that's a very difficult question for me. Oh my gosh.
What do you think God for? Like, in terms of the things that you really want to have accomplished in the future?
I'm a very short-term goal person. The things that I pray for on the long term, honestly, are my family. I always pray about my family, keep them safe. Like my family that's about to start, guide me to have the right sort of mindset and the right partner for that. When it comes to my career and businesses, like I change every 3 years, so I don't know. But whatever's happening now, like make whatever's happening now work so that I can start something else. Like I'm that person. Like, yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it comes with your job.
Yeah.
Every now and then. So, I mean, that's completely fine. In closing, words of encouragement for any young person. Words of encouragement for any young person.
Don't give up on who you are.
Okay.
Don't give up on who you are.
Okay. Yeah. Work on yourself continuously.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep on working on yourself. Don't give up on who you are. That's all I can say. There's a lot that comes with that, but that's basically the summary.
Wow, that's amazing. So, thank you for joining us today. It's been an amazing interview. I'm so grateful that you made this time to chat to us about your entrepreneurship journey. Yeah. I wish you all the best, and I don't doubt that in the next 5 years the world will be talking about you. I don't doubt that in the next 5 years the world will be talking about SiyaBuddy and what's the new one?
Untum Financial Solutions.
So I don't doubt that, and I hope everything goes well, and may God bless you in everything that you do.
Thank you so much for having me.
And that is all we have for today, guys. I hope you really enjoyed the interview we had with Nomuntu. Stay tuned. We have one more guest that's coming up in the channel. If you haven't subscribed, don't forget to do so by clicking on the button. Don't forget to leave your comments, and thank you for all your support. Thank you for tuning in. Hope to see you again next week. From me, it's nothing but love.